Have you ever heard stories about people who claim they can peer into bygone centuries or even glimpse events yet to unfold? They're often referred to as clairvoyants, individuals whose abilities defy our usual understanding of time and space. According to numerous accounts, these people draw on hidden sources of information that allow them to reconstruct the faintest echoes of the past or sense what lies just around the corner. But how could such a thing be possible, and is there really any evidence behind these seemingly unbelievable tales? Let's start by recalling an incident described in the writings of Abbot de Vellemont. On June 5, 1693, a shocking crime took place in the French city of Lyon. A wealthy merchant and his wife were found murdered in their own home. The house was ransacked, and although the crime likely caused considerable noise, no neighbors saw or heard a thing. With no witnesses and no immediate leads, the case appeared unsolvable. That was when the authorities turned to a man named Jacques Aymar, an ordinary peasant rumored to possess a rather unorthodox talent. He used a hazel twig, sometimes referred to as a divining rod, to track down wrongdoers. When Aymar arrived at the scene of the tragedy, he walked from room to room, carefully gripping the twig in his hands. As soon as he descended into the cellar, the rod tilted decisively, pointing toward the precise place where the victims had been discovered. Intrigued, investigators followed him as he searched the merchant's property and then headed along the river bank. Before long, Aymar reached a nearby gardener's house. He went inside, moving slowly through each room. Every time he approached the dining table, the twig dipped downward, as if reacting to some lingering trace left behind by the perpetrators. Aymar announced that the true criminals had once sat at this very spot. Naturally, this claim startled the gardener and his family, who insisted they had received no visitors the previous evening. The children backed up their parents' story, yet something about their uneasy demeanor gave them away. Finally, they confessed that 3 mysterious travelers had knocked on their door and been let in. These strangers devoured the family's dinner, leaving not a single crumb, then disappeared into the night. The gardener also mentioned that one of these visitors had a distinct hump on his back. In the days that followed, Aymar roamed the streets of Lyon, apparently pursuing some invisible lad. His investigation took him to a tavern, then to a bustling fairground, and eventually to a local prison. There, the prison guard lined up everyone who'd been arrested in recent days, mostly petty criminals with no clear link to the murder. However, as Aymar passed by, the hazel twig pointed straight at one particular inmate, a new arrival who had been caught that very morning for a minor pickpocketing offense. Sure enough, the man was hunchbacked. When confronted, the gardener identified him as the traveler who had visited his home on that fateful evening. For many observers, the hazel twig appeared to be the key to solving the crime. Yet some scholars, such as the French scientist Henri Maget, argued that the twig itself was little more than a prop. In Maget's view, the real explanation was that Jacques Aymar possessed an innate clairvoyance, enabling him to piece together a hidden chain of events. Still, this conclusion only raises more questions. What is the source of such insight? How could anyone, peasant or otherwise, retrieve knowledge about events for which almost no physical clues remain? An intriguing idea proposed by Abbot de Vellemont suggested that certain people are sensitive to subtle emanations, a kind of thin matter left behind by objects and events. According to de Vellemont, the twig may be just one means of detecting these emanations. More recently, the geologist and popular science writer Rudolf Balandin took this line of thinking further. He noted that similar rods and dowsing devices, sometimes just simple pieces of wire, continue to be used today. In some instances, they're employed in criminal investigations. In others, they help locate mineral deposits or underground water sources. The items themselves, Balandin stressed, are purely ordinary. The real mystery lies in the people holding them and the inner ability they bring into play. This leads us to the fascinating concept of what Balandin called the information field of the universe. According to him, it's possible that everything that happens every moment, every detail creates a ripple of information that remains imprinted in reality. Some even theorize that if information about the past is stored in this universal field, then perhaps traces of the future also reside there. That notion might explain why certain clairvoyants sometimes appear to foresee events that haven't happened yet. Consider the experiment carried out by scientist and researcher Alexander Pluzhnikov in late 1979. Sailing on the vessel Karelia, he allegedly detected oncoming ships at night using a dowsing rod, well before they showed up on radar. When the radar station did pick them up, it confirmed the existence of ships beyond the horizon right where Pluzhnikov had sensed them. If accurate, such story suggests that information about future occurrences might be accessible in the same realm where the past is recorded. But does that imply the future is set in stone, predetermined in some unchanging cosmic tapestry? Balandin argued that if clairvoyance predictions were always correct, we would have to assume the universe is a rigid crystal containing the entire span of time past, present, and future locked in place. Yet we know clairvoyance predictions can go wrong, sometimes drastically. For Balandin, this indicates that while all possible outcomes might be stored in the information field, the actual future is shaped by probabilities that can shift as events unfold. In other words, clairvoyance may see several possible paths rather than one inevitable fate. The Bulgarian prophetess Vanga, renowned for her often uncanny insights, famously asked visitors to bring a cube of sugar. Holding it in her hands, she would apparently glean details about their lives. Many believed that the sugar itself wasn't a repository of data but simply a conduit, a focal point aiding her connection to the person's unique imprint in this broader information field. Similarly, other clairvoyants claim to work with photographs, small personal items, or even everyday objects, all said to help them tune into the hidden currents that shape reality. Balandin pointed out that geologists find traces of Earth's past in the layers of rock all around us, footprints left by ancient creatures, fossilized plants, particles of organic matter, and even dust. Each fragment, however small, embodies a form of memory. By extension, might it be that the entire universe, from the formation of galaxies to the most fleeting human moment, is continuously etched into a vast archive where nothing is truly lost? If so, then perhaps these clairvoyants are simply adept at reading that silent record. However, the idea of glimpsing the future through such a field prompts lively debate. Some find the notion inspiring, a sign that human consciousness could be more powerful and wide-ranging than we imagine. Others see it as speculative at best, insisting that mainstream science offers no firm evidence. And indeed, many attempts to test psychic abilities under controlled conditions have produced inconclusive or conflicting results. Yet the stories persist, from historical anecdotes to modern experiments, leaving us to wonder whether there may be phenomena that conventional methods have yet to capture. Ultimately, whether we accept or reject these accounts, they remind us that human curiosity recognizes few boundaries. The possibility that time may not flow in a strictly linear fashion, and that some people might access knowledge outside our standard framework, touches on questions as old as civilization itself. Are these tales of hazel twigs, sugar cubes, and rods just folklore? Or do they point to something deeper, a hint that we're part of an endlessly rich and interconnected cosmos, filled with more wonders than we can easily comprehend? So the next time you hear about someone who claims to tap into hidden reservoirs of knowledge, perhaps using an unremarkable object in a remarkable way, consider the broader picture. Even if we remain skeptical, these stories invite us to imagine the vast network of possibilities that surrounds each moment in time. And if the future truly isn't written in stone, then maybe these clairvoyants, however rare they might be, are merely glimpsing the branching pathways that stretch out before us, all an infinite tapestry of potential outcomes waiting to be woven into the narrative of history.